The Big Five model, one of the most widely recognized theories of personality in academic psychology, is used in scientific research, HR and coaching, and psychotherapy as a fundamental tool for understanding human nature. But what if we apply this model to the personality of Jesus? The five core traits are openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Openness to experience. This trait includes curiosity, readiness for new impressions, a search for truth and knowledge, creative thinking, imagination, flexibility in perceiving different cultures and ideas, and willingness to reconsider the familiar in pursuit of a higher meaning. Jesus was undoubtedly an innovator and a deeply creative figure. Recall his words, "You have heard, but I say to you." He told parables, used symbols and paradoxes, visited surrounding regions, such as the Greek Decapolis, Tyre, Sidon, Samaria, and likely lands east of the Jordan, engaging freely with people of different nationalities. Here, the rating is the highest possible. Conscientiousness. People with high conscientiousness are careful, reliable, hard-working, and result-oriented. Those with low scores are spontaneous, less structured, sometimes more creative, but less consistent in fulfilling commitments. It is hard to imagine anyone more conscientious than Jesus. He ascended the cross with the words, "It is finished," lived with discipline, served both family and society, and respected laws as long as they did not contradict divine love and truth. Again, the rating is maximal. Extraversion. This trait reflects how much energy a person draws from the external world, social interaction, events, and activities. Introverts, on the other hand, prefer solitude and inner reflection, gaining strength from reading, contemplation, or creative work. Jesus was a magnet for people, comfortable among crowds, constantly interacting and seeking encounters. Yet he maintained a deep personal relationship with the Father, retreating into solitude to draw strength from the spiritual world. Here, we might place him at a balanced midpoint, extroverted in ministry, introverted in communion with God. Agreeableness. This dimension includes trust, empathy, compassion, cooperation, and warmth in interaction. Low agreeableness is linked to competitiveness, critical attitudes, bluntness, and self-centeredness. For Jesus, the rating is surely the highest. Recall his extraordinary words, "Father, forgive them," and his commandment of love. He was patient with sinners, unfailingly gentle, responsive, and respectful, regardless of social status. Even events such as the cleansing of the temple can be seen as filled with deeper benevolence. Stern words to the Pharisees, however, may be better understood in connection with the next trait, neuroticism. Neuroticism, emotional stability. This factor reflects a person's susceptibility to negative emotions and stress. Low neuroticism means calmness, balance, resilience. High levels mean frequent anxiety, mood swings, sensitivity to criticism, or quickness to anger. Jesus clearly exhibited extremely low neuroticism, that is, extraordinary stability. He displayed remarkable self-control, even on the cross. Certainly, he experienced surges of emotion, as in Gethsemane or in his indignation toward the Pharisees, but he mastered these feelings swiftly. After all, he was human, with DNA carrying traits of earthly ancestors, and thus human predispositions. Thus, within the framework of modern psychology, Jesus appears as an ideally integrated personality, creative, responsible, loving, balanced, and open to truth. An intriguing thought is that psychology and behavioral genetics estimate that about 50% of these traits are genetically based. Each person is programmed only halfway. The rest comes from environment, upbringing, culture, and spiritual growth. Was Jesus programmed 100%? Or, like us, only 50%? Whatever the answer, a brief personal encounter with Jesus would likely not have given us instant clarity or inspiration. Reactions to his personality type would be highly individual. His perfection in any sphere might seem like an unattainable ideal, or even alienating. Perhaps the greatest impact would come through long conversations with him, assuming willingness to listen and take his words seriously. And this leads us to what Jesus often emphasized: the necessity of inner spiritual growth, not external compulsion. Such unique growth, directed toward the perfection of personality, makes every person, in some sense, resemble Jesus, while at the same time preserving their individuality, rooted in genetic inheritance and psychological birthmarks. From this perspective, we reach a paradox. Spiritual growth and human transformation often occur unconsciously, unfolding regardless of our awareness. What is required on our part, and what in the highest sense are the true sacraments, is love for God and a striving for truth. Over time, the personality structure described in psychology by these 5 traits becomes transformed under the influence of God's presence. This is precisely what Jesus meant when he spoke of the plant growing from the smallest seed, the perfection of the human being, transformation into the image of Christ. Of course, not everything will be corrected in earthly life. In some respects, we remain imperfect until death. But this incompleteness will ultimately be resolved through physical death and the gift of a new, more perfect body in another reality.